Seth Rollins teases an alliance with Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw against Roman Reigns and The Rock and offers to be your shield to the American Nightmare. We've got several matches announced for Raw next week, including Cody Rhodes facing off against Drew McIntyre. Speaking of McIntyre, he assisted Shinsuke Nakamura in the main event last night against Sami Zayn on Monday Night Raw. Several stars have qualified for the Elimination Chamber matches in Perth, Australia. A big bit of news when it comes to AEW, as Rocky Romero is reportedly now a part of the front office, seemingly ending his time in New Japan Pro Wrestling, perhaps. Eric Bischoff believes that AEW should sign the former president of TNA Wrestling, Scott D'Amore, and Charlotte Flair reveals she's ahead of schedule in recovery from her knee injury. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins possibly having an alliance against the new bloodline of Roman Reigns and The Rock on the road to WrestleMania. Appearing on screen together for the first time since the WrestleMania 40 kickoff press conference event, Cody Rhodes and WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins seem to set previous differences aside as Cody Rhodes begins to plot his strategy against the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns, and of course someone who is Rollins' former brother in arms in The Shield. With Rhodes acknowledging the WWE Universe for their efforts in what some may call the We Want Cody movement, following what sure seemed like his ceding of his WrestleMania spot to The Rock on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, the crowd followed suit and the We Want Cody chants were in full force right away on Raw in Lexington last night. And when Rhodes invoked The Rock's Cody Crybabies line and a couple of interesting Chicken McNugget references, the thousands in attendance and maybe the millions watching at home followed suit with Rocky Sucks chants en masse. But soon after, Seth Rollins' music hit, and the former co-founding father of The Shield quickly made it known that he respected Rhodes' decision to challenge Reigns at WrestleMania. From there, Rollins wanted to make it clear that not only did he need to finish the story, but he also needed some backup against Reigns, especially now with The Rock in the fold, especially alongside the rest of the bloodline, which is precisely what cost Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania last year. Declaring that the monster that is Reigns has now two heads, Rollins told Rhodes, quote, "When it comes to fighting the bloodline, when it comes to fighting The Rock, when it comes to fighting Roman Reigns, there is only one man who is uniquely suited to be your shield," possibly paving the way for this rumored tag team match between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins teaming up to face off against The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Something, of course, that was teased heavily in the WrestleMania teaser trailer that dropped during Super Bowl Sunday. What were your thoughts on this segment? What are your thoughts on an alliance between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, this leads into Raw next week when it comes to Cody Rhodes facing off against Drew McIntyre. And next week's Raw will be headlined by a pair of matches that wouldn't look out of place on a premium live event. On Monday's episode of Raw, Jey Uso teamed up with The New Day against Imperium. Now, the early portion of the match saw Gunther kick Uso in the face, while the latter portion saw Uso hit Gunther with a spear and nearly pin him. Ludwig Kaiser broke it up, though. The situation between Uso and Gunther is tense to say the least, and the two will get the opportunity to get their frustrations out when they go one-on-one next week with the WWE Intercontinental Championship on the line. It was also announced that Cody Rhodes will face Drew McIntyre next week, presumably in the main event. In a backstage segment, McIntyre claimed he was the real reason that Rhodes reconsidered facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and said he believes Rhodes should thank him instead of trying to fight him. However, he also warned Rhodes that he could miss WrestleMania like CM Punk. Later during the main event, as I mentioned, which we'll get into a bit later, McIntyre got involved. Next week's episode will also feature the Last Chance Battle Royal to determine the final entrant in the Women's Elimination Chamber, as well as an 8-man tag team match that will see DIY team up with The Awesome Truth to take on the Judgment Day. Now, when it comes to the main event, as I mentioned, Drew McIntyre was heavily involved, as he's heavily involved in a lot of things on Monday Night Raw. Raw and I guess the WrestleMania title picture in general right now. And what does it mean for Sami Zayn? Because Sami Zayn's got this really rocky road to WrestleMania, doesn't he? Sami Zayn returned to the ring at the Royal Rumble, coming out as the number 30 entrant in the men's Royal Rumble match, but failed to win the aforementioned bouts. He then lost an Elimination Chamber qualifying match against Randy Orton on the February 12 episode of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Now, on the episode of Raw from last night, Sami Zayn faced off against Shinsuke Nakamura in a buzzworthy main event. They waged war in a thrilling encounter, and Zayn was seemingly on the verge of victory when Drew McIntyre came to ringside and distracted him. Nakamura capitalized and hit the Kinshasa for the victory. McIntyre and Nakamura started to gang up on Zayn after the bell, but Cody Rhodes ran in and made the save. He cleared the ring and stood tall with Sami Zayn, who looked disheartened following his latest defeat. Of course, Sami Zayn was in the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania last year, teaming up with Kevin Owens to defeat the Usos to win the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. But as of right now, his road to WrestleMania looks very unclear. What do you think this means for Sami Zayn? How do you think he's going to get on the card for WrestleMania? And what do you think WWE should do with Sami Zayn? How do they correct the course for last year's WrestleMania main eventer? Let me know your thoughts, predictions, and takes about that in the comment section below. Now, last night we saw several qualifying matches for the upcoming Elimination Chamber Premium Live event in Perth, Australia. Now, Perth will be screaming yeah during the men's Elimination Chamber match as LA Knight overcame Ivar in a hard-hitting qualifying match on the latest edition of Monday Night Raw. In the last moments of the match, Ivar went up to the top rope for his iconic Doomsault. Knight rolled out of the blast zone at the last moment and took advantage of a stunned Ivar to land a successful BFT. 1-3 count later, Knight solidified his place in the Elimination Chamber match, the winner of which, of course, will earn a shot at Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Knight, though, was not the only person to qualify for the Elimination Chamber match on Monday night. Earlier on in the evening, Bobby Lashley overcame Big Bronson Reed to qualify for the men's Elimination Chamber match, adding himself to a field that includes the aforementioned Knight, along with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. The final two entrants will be determined on Friday's episode of SmackDown. Kevin Owens will take on Dominic Mysterio, while Logan Paul battles The Miz in the final two men's qualifying matches. Now, Bronson Reed, as you can imagine, being from Australia, was disconsolate after the show, saying he had let his country down. The question is, how does he get on the Elimination Chamber card, given the fact that he's not going to be in the Elimination Chamber bout? Now, when it comes to the women's side of things, Liv Morgan added a stop in Australia to her revenge tour after defeating Zoe Stark in a women's qualifying match on Raw last night. Morgan was among the women named in a report previously, of course, of the 6 women who will enter the Elimination Chamber. Naomi and Tiffany Stratton are expected to join her on SmackDown, while a last chance battle royal on next week's Raw could likely be won by Jade Cargill. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch have also already qualified. Lynch and Morgan have reportedly been seen as the favourites to earn the WrestleMania title shot at stake, which will likely be against Rhea Ripley. Of course, she defends her Women's World Championship against Nia Jax at Elimination Chamber. Now, this is a big bit of news when it comes to All Elite Wrestling, and it regards Rocky Romero. Now, this kind of came out of nowhere last night. Rocky Romero has reportedly joined AEW's front office. Now, Romero made his AEW debut on an AEW Dark Elevation taping back in May 2021. He's since wrestled the company numerous times, but he's been a really influential front office figure for New Japan Pro Wrestling, particularly when it comes to forming relationships with other promotions around the world. He's been credited being a vital figure in building AEW's relationship with New Japan. Specifically, he had a significant role in making the first Forbidden Door event come together. He has had a key role backstage with New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. In the latest daily update, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer reported that Rocky Romero is now part of AEW's front office. Meltzer did not provide any details about his role. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful noted the report is accurate. In recent months, Romero has wrestled for CMLL, MLW, and other promotions, in addition to his work with AEW. Now, no real context has been given about his role with New Japan. Is that going to be changing? Has he left New Japan and what have you? We'll have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts on this? Is this a good thing for AEW? What does it mean for New Japan Pro Wrestling? Several stars from New Japan coming over to AEW in recent months. Jay White, Will Ospreay, rumored to be Kazuchika Okada as well. What are your thoughts on Rocky Romero being a part of AEW's front office and maybe, we don't know, but possibly leaving New Japan? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Now, could there be more additions to AEW when it comes to the executive side of things? Well, according to Eric Bischoff, he believes that AEW should have significant interest in former TNA president Scott D'Amore. Now, following the news that Scott D'Amore was terminated from TNA Wrestling, people within both promotions and outside of it offered their condolences and praise regarding the former executive. Speaking on a recent episode of Strictly Business, another former wrestling executive, former WCW president Eric Bischoff, offered his opinion on the situation. He said, quote, "I've never heard anything but positive things about Scott," Bischoff said. "I've never worked with Scott at all, so I don't have any personal experience with him that I could talk about, but I can't think of one person that I've talked to that didn't have good things to say about Scott D'Amore." Bischoff then said, "It's hard to truly measure success as there are various perspectives from which to analyze a business. However, it would be hard to argue that D'Amore wasn't moving TNA in the right direction, with Bischoff finding it unusual that Anthem Sports and Entertainment would let him go." The former WCW executive said there could be many different reasons why D'Amore was let go that the public is not currently aware of. Up to this point in D'Amore's career, Bischoff feels that the producer has stayed in the minor leagues but could find himself moving up. As for the next destination for D'Amore, Bischoff sees one place where he would fit right in. He said, quote, "I see a path for Scott in AEW much more easily than I see in WWE," Bischoff continued. "WWE right now doesn't need creative horsepower. AEW desperately needs someone like Scott D'Amore. There's a previous relationship with Jeff Jarrett within AEW that would be beneficial to Scott D'Amore. At least I think so." So, do you agree with Eric Bischoff? Should AEW be looking at someone like Scott D'Amore to bring into AEW? And if he was to come over to AEW, what role do you think would best suit him? What position do you think he should be slotted into? Should it be creative? Should it be in charge of one particular show? Should it be in charge of one particular division? What would you have him do if you were in charge of All Elite Wrestling? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Finally, we have an injury update on Charlotte Flair, and reportedly, according to the Queen herself, she's ahead of schedule when it comes to her rehab from her knee injury. On the December 8th edition of SmackDown, Asuka defeated Charlotte Flair thanks to interference from Bayley. Now, during the course of the match, Charlotte suffered a serious knee injury. It was later revealed that Flair underwent surgery for a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus. WWE announced that Charlotte will be out of action for up to 9 months. Appearing on CNBC Power Lunch, Charlotte Flair revealed she is ahead of schedule in rehab from her surgery. She said, quote, "I'm 6 weeks out Thursday. I'm ahead of schedule, and every day all I can think about is returning back to the ring, especially with all the excitement with Raw going to Netflix, WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. All I can think about is getting back and winning that number 15. Charlotte has also kept fans up to date on her recovery with her workout videos on Instagram. Of course, she is the wife of the recently returned WWE superstar Andrade, so possibly in the future we could see them teaming together on WWE television once Charlotte is back from her injury as well. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.